There are some basic facts in life. The sky is above us, taxes in America are due every April 15th, and Los Angeles does not have optimal rail transit. I was reminded of the third of these facts while working on my video on whether LA can host a car-free Olympics. Part of that suboptimal network is the LA Metro Rail C Line. Often dubbed as the train from nowhere to nowhere, because it does not serve any central business district or major activity center. However, I think it has the potential to go somewhere, and that would be an understatement. The extension to the C Line that I'm about to propose would do so much that I decided to enter my proposal into fellow YouTuber Classy Whale's One Line More contest. This extension is either going to be so bonkers that Classy Whale ends up really liking this, or else so bonkers that I don't even get a mention in the end of contest video. I don't know which is going to be the case, so I'm just going to roll with it and see where my wild idea lands. Now that I've hyped up this extension, let's get right into what it's going to look like. I do want to get the subject of rolling stock out of the way, as the One Line More contest also involves my talking about rolling stock. The C line is an existing line, so some of the rolling stock will be the current rolling stock of Kinki Shiro P3010s, but given the increased length of the line, as well as the increased demand I anticipate from the line, new trains will probably need to be ordered in order to supplement existing ones. I would turn back to the same company for a future batch of vehicles, just because they are experienced at making light rail vehicles for American systems. The most recent batch of vehicles they brought to the LA Metro Rail system was praised for being ahead of schedule in its delivery, as well as reliable. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? As for the stops themselves, after the Norwalk station, which is the current eastern terminus of the line, the C line would curve south to Studebaker Road. You might be asking, why aren't you connecting it to the Norwalk/Santa Fe Springs Metrolink station as others have proposed? I'm going to give a hot take and say that the plans can be so much bolder than just extending it to the Metrolink station. But I will connect to Metrolink later in the C line extension, so worry not. The first stop of the extension would be at Studebaker Road and Rosecrans Avenue. Development around the station is suburban, but it does connect with Norwalk Transit's Route 5 bus, an east-west line which connects to nearby Santa Fe Springs and La Mirada. It's far from the most important stop of the extension, but as viewers will notice, I make connections with bus routes a priority as I determine where to put C line stops. A much more important stop is the following one, which would be at Studebaker Road and Alondra Boulevard. The reason this is such an important stop is that it would serve Cerritos College, a community college which has a population of over 20,000 students. This is the last stop on the Studebaker Road portion of the route, but the route will continue along Studebaker Road until it gets to Artesia Boulevard. At that point of the route, the C line would make a turn so that it heads onto Artesia Boulevard. The first stop along Artesia Boulevard would be at the intersection of Artesia Boulevard and Pioneer Boulevard in Artesia. Pioneer Boulevard is the center of commerce in Artesia, so it's hard to imagine a stop in the city of Artesia without a stop serving Pioneer Boulevard. The following stop would be at Artesia Boulevard and Norwalk Boulevard. Development near the stop is very suburban in nature, but at least you get a connection to a bus line there, and at that, a north-south bus line for the area. The next stop would be at Artesia Boulevard and Bloomfield Avenue, but such a stop may as well be renamed Cerritos Town Center, because the reason for the stop at this location is because of all the development at the Cerritos Town Center. The following stop would be much less significant due to less impressive development, but still necessary to prevent spacing too wide between stops. A stop at Artesia Boulevard and Carmentia Road. It would at least provide a connection to a bus route on Carmentia Road. Continuing along Artesia Boulevard, I'd have a stop at Artesia Boulevard and Valley View Avenue. At that stop, you'd be able to transfer to a Route 123 bus, which takes you directly to Cypress College, a community college with over 15,000 students. This is the last stop on the Artesia Boulevard portion of the line. This line gets to Interstate 5, then runs along I-5 for a short bit, and then curves its way onto Commonwealth Avenue. As far as I can tell, only a couple of parking lots would be affected in the construction of the portion of the line heading from I-5 to Commonwealth Avenue, so it's not a big deal, all things considered. The first stop on Commonwealth Avenue would be at Beach Boulevard. While the area nearby looks kind of suburban, there are two things that I think will make this a popular stop. First, it's near a bit of an office complex called the Buena Park Commerce Plaza. And second, and perhaps more importantly, the train stop allows you to transfer to a bus that takes you directly to Knott's Berry Farm, a major tourist attraction. The second stop on Commonwealth Avenue would be where it intersects with Magnolia Avenue. Development around the stop isn't impressive, but a stop at this intersection would serve two purposes. First, it connects with the bus line that runs along the avenue. And second, given that Fullerton Municipal Airport, which is near the stop, is a reliever airport if things get a bit crazy at the other major airports in the area, it's probably good to have connectivity to Fullerton Municipal. There would then be a stop at Commonwealth Avenue and Euclid Street. Development is not terribly impressive around this stop, but the stop does offer connectivity with a bus that goes to neighborhoods in Anaheim and Santa Ana, which makes this train stop beneficial. As the line gets to downtown Fullerton, the route makes a turn, this time a southward one, when Commonwealth Avenue intersects with Harbor Boulevard. Soon after that southward turn, there's a stop by the Fullerton Metrolink station, thus making sure the C line is connected with Metrolink. Next is a stop at Harbor Boulevard and Orangethorpe Avenue. There are so many parking lots here. But at the same time, this stop does offer connection to the Orangethorpe Avenue bus. And additionally, the reason there are so many parking lots is because a major mall is located here, Fullerton Metro Center. A light rail stop here would provide a mass transit alternative to get to and from that major mall. Continuing south, the route heads into Anaheim along Harbor Boulevard, with the first Anaheim stop being at Harbor Boulevard and La Palma Avenue. Once again, development around the stop is suburban in nature, but the stop provides a connection to a bus route along La Palma Avenue, thus making this light rail stop useful. I should just pause for a moment for a couple of reasons. First, because I should say that as good as the connections have been thus far, the best of the line is about to come, I promise. And second, because I want to remind people to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. Anyway, back to the rest of the C-Line extension, which is now at 13 stations and not done yet. Number 14 is in downtown Anaheim. There is a bus running down Lincoln Avenue on the north end of downtown Anaheim, but most of the high-density office space seems to be centered around the Center Street Promenade. So I'd probably have a Lincoln Avenue exit at the downtown Anaheim station, as well as a Center Street exit. And number 15 is at the intersection of Harbor Boulevard and Ball Road. There are two purposes for this stop. The first is that it connects with an east-west bus taking people to other parts of Anaheim. The second is that it's near hotels for people visiting Disneyland. I mean, people heading to Disneyland could walk there from the hotels, but that walk involves crosswalks for an exit on Interstate 5. Some may prefer to take mass transit instead. The following stop is Disneyland itself. Yes, the line currently dubbed as the line from nowhere to nowhere is a line that I'm proposing to extend to Disneyland. Considering that this is a line that helps you connect to both LAX and to Disneyland, I expect this line to become significantly more popular just because it goes to Disneyland. But we're not ending this extension at Disneyland. If anything, we're just getting into the best part of the line. After Disneyland, this train would stop at the intersection of Harbor Boulevard and Catella Avenue. The train would actually turn eastward on Catella Avenue here, but there should still be a stop at this intersection. That's for two big reasons. First, because it would serve a ton of Disneyland people staying at hotels. And second, because it is near a major facility called the Anaheim Convention Center, which is kind of important to serve. Fun fact about the convention center: it's the largest exhibition facility on the West Coast. The following stop would be at Catella Avenue and Anaheim Boulevard. This stop connects you to bus service, and it connects people to even more hotels near Disneyland. Continuing on Catella Avenue, the next stop would be at Catella Avenue and State College Boulevard. There is some higher density residential and commercial development on or near State College Boulevard, so the connection to the bus that runs along that street is critical. The line then veers off of Catella Avenue and follows the pathway of the Metrolink tracks for a little bit. There's only one stop in that portion of the route, though, at the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center. Good gosh, that was a mouthful. That station provides connections to Metrolink, Amtrak, buses, the arena where the Anaheim Ducks and the National Hockey League play, and the stadium where the Los Angeles Angels play. It's going to be a very useful, very popular station, in my opinion. When the C line gets to Main Street, it then turns onto Main Street. The first stop in the Main Street portion of the route is Chapman Avenue. It's a stop west of downtown Orange and west of the Orange stop on Metrolink. However, this is the closest approach my C line extension will make to downtown Orange, hence the stop at that location. I considered getting this line a little closer to downtown Orange, but that would just add more curves and make the route slower. On the south side of Orange, I'd have a stop at Main Street and La Veta Avenue. There is an absolutely massive medical complex near this stop, which I totally did not know before doing research for this video. There are also some major non-medical offices there, but if there is such a thing as a medical row in this area, the area around Main Street and La Veta Avenue would be it. I would then have a stop within the main Place Mall area on Main Street. This station has one purpose and one purpose only: to serve all the shoppers going to the main Place Mall. And it is a large mall, from what I see. Main Street then crosses Interstate 5, entering into Santa Ana. The first of the stops in Santa Ana would be at the intersection of 17th Street and Main Street. Development near the station is not as impressive as closer to downtown Santa Ana, but it does offer a connection to an east-west bus line, thus making the light rail line stop here useful. Development gets more impressive as you approach 10th Street in Santa Ana, though. For that reason, I have a stop at the intersection of 10th Street and Main Street. This is as we are heading towards downtown Santa Ana. The following stop would be at 5th Street and Main Street. I anticipate this being the busiest stop in Santa Ana, and maybe one of the busiest in the entire line. It is about 1/10 of a mile from Civic Center Drive, which contains a lot of local government offices. It's right in the middle of the commercial center of downtown Santa Ana, and it'll connect with a new streetcar in Santa Ana that is expected to be completed next year. The westbound streetcars in that part of Santa Ana will go along Santa Ana Boulevard, while the eastbound streetcars will go along 4th Street. I therefore decided to stick a stop right between where the eastbound stop would be and where the westbound stop would be. Continuing south, the following stop would be at 1st Street and Main Street. It's on the outskirts of downtown Santa Ana, so I don't expect it to have the same level of ridership as the 5th Street and Main Street stop. However, this route also connects with Route 64 in Orange County. The following stop, which is at McFadden Avenue and Main Street, returns us to a refrain that I felt like I said a lot, particularly earlier in this video. The refrain of, land use around this station is very suburban in nature. But this stop would connect with another east-west bus route. This time, it's Route 66. which runs along McFadden Avenue. This is not to be confused with US Route 66, which also happens to go through the LA area. The next stop going south would be at Edgar Avenue and Main Street. It's very similar to the McFadden Avenue stop in that land use around the proposed station is very suburban, but that the station also provides access to an east-west bus route. In this case, the bus route is Route 70. The following stop would be at Warner Avenue and Main Street, which has, you guessed it, suburban land use, but also connects to an east-west bus route. That bus route is Route 72. Not every stop for the rest of this proposed C-Line extension is going to follow that pattern. I promise. And to show my viewers that I made good on my promise, I'm going to bring to you the next stop. Before the next stop, though, my line would go from being on Main Street to being on MacArthur Boulevard. Soon after it gets to MacArthur Boulevard, I'd have the line stop at MacArthur Place. It's an area at the edge of Santa Ana that has a bunch of high-rise office complexes, so this stop is meant to primarily cater to workers. Another proposed stop with a bunch of high-rise buildings would be the MacArthur Boulevard and Main Street stop in, of all places, Irvine. When people think of Irvine, the first thing that might come to mind is suburban surrounds. But this is not the Irvine you get near this stop. There are a bunch of high-rises on the Irvine side of Main Street. Enough of them that I was tempted to extend the C-Line down the Irvine side of Main Street. I would propose the area around this station be designed in a way that if planners wanted to perhaps extend a branch of the C-Line down Main Street in Irvine in the future, they could do so. But what I did instead was extend the C-Line in a direction that would serve John Wayne Airport. Fun fact about this airport: it is the second busiest airport in the LA area in terms of passenger traffic, behind LAX. It had more passenger traffic in 2023 than the primary airports in San Antonio, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. It is therefore an airport more than busy enough to merit a light rail station. At the very least, it merits more transit than currently, which is a bus that runs from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays. I guess that means nobody has flights into or out of that airport after 6 p.m. on a weekday, or on a weekend. Oh, wait. The last turn the C-Line makes is onto Campus Drive, and the first stop on Campus Drive would be at the intersection of Campus Drive and Jamboree Road. It would serve the North Campus at the University of California at Irvine, as well as what looks like some nearby high-rise residential complexes. The last two stops are at the UC Irvine campus, as UC Irvine has about 30,000 undergraduate students and several thousand graduate students. This is a large, compact community the stops would serve. The first of them would be where Campus Drive intersects with Peltison Drive and Bridge Road. This would serve UC Irvine Student Center, the University Center shopping mall, a lot of UC Irvine housing, and athletic facilities. The second of them would be where Campus Drive intersects with Peltison Drive and Berkeley Avenue. This stop provides access to both academic and residential facilities at UC Irvine. Now that I've outlined this line, stop by stop, let's do some numbers. This would extend the C-Line by 36 stops, turning it from an 11-stop line to a 47-stop line. Ironically, that's one stop less than what the LA Metro A line would have once a 4-stop extension is built. But here's another wild statistic. If I'm counting things correctly, 22 of the 36 proposed stops are near or significantly improved connectivity to places that tend to attract a high amount of rail transit, such as high-density residential complexes, high-density commercial complexes, tourist attractions, airports, and entertainment centers. From a Disneyland stop to stops in downtown Santa Ana, a stop at a busy airport to a stop connecting a major baseball stadium and hockey arena, this line does a lot. But does it do too much? And my answer is no. And the reason I say not can be summarized in 3 letters: LAX. LAX is such a popular airport for those who visit Anaheim and Disneyland that the Visit Anaheim website has a whole page regarding LAX. And getting from LAX to Anaheim by way of public transit is downright painful, with it taking nearly 2 hours in the best case scenario. Given how much of a tourist attraction Disneyland and the Anaheim Convention Center are, I think it's extremely important that there is an easy connection between LAX and Anaheim. A Sea Line extension that serves Anaheim will do this, for the Sea Line would then go directly from Anaheim to a stop where you can transfer to the LAX People Mover currently under construction. On the other end of the Sea Line I propose, John Wayne Airport is a busy enough airport that I think it's important to connect people between there and Anaheim, especially since, at the moment, it takes an utterly shameful hour and 44 minutes to get from that airport to Disneyland. In contrast, it only takes 13 minutes to drive, at least on the Sunday evening when I'm writing this script. And it's quite convenient that there are magnets for high ridership between LAX and Anaheim, as well as between Anaheim and John Wayne Airport. Places like the Cerritos Town Center in downtown Santa Ana. Places like major office complexes on the outskirts of Santa Ana and downtown Fullerton. It just so happens to be the case that it's possible to connect all these important places along one line. It does have a few twists and turns, but I think it's a cohesive line. I think the bigger question is the logistics of getting the funding for the line. That's because the LA Metro rail system is focused on Los Angeles County, yet this line would extend well into neighboring Orange County. Because of that, any referendum to pass a sales tax increase to make this line possible would likely have to be approved by voters in Los Angeles County and Orange County. And then, once built, there has to be some agreement between LA Metro and the Orange County Transportation Authority so that funding and maintenance is fair, and so that no one authority is left feeling like they're paying too much money. If any of the powers that be in Los Angeles County and Orange County actually take up my idea, though, I have a piece of advice. Make sure the politicians are on board before seeking funding. Apparently, local funding was secured for light rail along a route that shares some similarities to mine, but also some key differences. But the project was killed because of a lack of buy-in from politicians at the federal level, and therefore, a lack of federal funding. Therefore, transit advocates who want some version of my idea, whether it be my idea exactly, or something more Orange County-centric like what was proposed in the 1990s, should get buy-in from their members of Congress before seeking funding. Or, better yet, given that trying to get federal funding for light rail transit under a second Trump administration might be a dumpster fire if the anti-mass transit ideology in Project 2025 wins out, maybe find ways to get this built with as little federal funding as possible. The funding piece might have some tricky logistics, but if they can be figured out, I think this could be an amazing line. It would transform the line from nowhere to nowhere into a line that serves so many places and so many constituencies, ranging from visiting tourists to workers, from baseball fans to shoppers. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this line too. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you and have a good day.